Black, y'all.
This video is going to be all about my involvement in music. Suppy. In a previous video, I had talked all about my fancy LinkedIn titles. What I didn't discuss was my involvement with livi.TV, where I serve as founder and editor-in-chief. For those who don't know what the website is, we interview bands, we give album reviews, we also have a flagship podcast in which I'm also the host. This first started off as a project for shits and giggles. We had just done a personal video podcast just for a few friends of ours. After we saw more individuals paying us more attention, we started to think of what the next step was, which was to make a website. After we made the website, we started to ask publicists if we would be able to interview their bands. And then after we talked to the publicists about interviewing their bands, we asked them if we'd be able to shoot them at their shows. And they said yes. Long story short, we've been growing ever since. On a more personal level, I'm a pop punk kid and I'll probably always stay that way. Most of the time, it's fast, fun paced. It talks about mundane life issues like, family, friends, emotions, personal tribulations. And it's nonsensical fun. It's just fun. It's fun. I'm a product of 2012 pop punk, so I'm just utterly in love with the Wonder Years, Man Overboard, State Champs, Transit, Fireworks, all the bands that came out at that time. What I love about those bands is that they were able to take existing music theories and be able to make it unique again. It's pretty refreshing. Now, the bands that I had mentioned are already established and thriving, but what really impresses me is when a band that hasn't really received their break yet are able to demonstrate the same refreshing qualities. Now, the individuals from my neck of the woods are kind of like my personal hometown heroes. Bands like Pines, Ben Greenblatt, Clearview, Your Persona, Brocklanders. All of those bands are kind of like my personal, like Man Overboard or real friends. Now, it's where these two sectors meet between music journalism and the bands themselves is where I kind of step into play. Now, what I really enjoy is whenever I read an interview or listen to a podcast with the band is just having them describe their mental process for creating music. When I interview bands for Babe Talk, I really want to get into their mind as to why they started creating music in the first place. Music aside, if you ever have a minute to talk to an individual that has a personal project of theirs, listen to them. They become the most passionate people to ever exist on earth. They almost start to black out mentally and begin to ramble, and they damn near come close to ripping their garments in emotion over it. And when band members get to that point, for me, it's absolutely euphoric. And I would be absolutely remiss if I did not mention the individual that had gotten me into the music scene to begin with, Paul Brown of Comic Trips. The first show that actually brought me into the local scene was True Thing's final show in Atlantic City, New Jersey at the Boneyard back in January of 2014. 1787 Collective, ran by Paul Brown, actually put on that show, and it had given me the fire to actually investigate as to what a local scene was. Being a newbie going over to a local show, I was definitely apprehensive about going over to it. I had some preconceived notions as to what would happen, and my anxiety would just told me like, oh, it's going to be unwelcome, it's going to be a shit show, And after that first show, Paul actually really helped me shatter all of the negative thoughts that I may have had about the local community, even going as far as to make me the official 1787 Collective photographer, and he also allowed me to help run a few of the shows later down the line. I've grown since then. So has Babe Talk. So yeah, now you guys know me. But this is just the start of everything that I have to say. The world is wild and so is life. I'll keep you guys posted on how I feel about it. Suppy.
Black, y'all.